Welcome to the... oh no, that's a terrible... hey, so this is the next top 10 powers video for Omen Mesa Saga The Telling, and this is covering the Tatayan and the Alfred God season of the saga. This is the top 10 powers seen in both of those seasons. Not including anybody who was in the previous... As far as I know, nobody was in the previous top 10. Anyway, here we go. Let's... My name is James Gray, and let's get on with this. Intros are hard. So, number 10. The android designated as 421. 421 was created by Sir Clayton as a field operative to go on scouting missions and complete tasks that Sir Clayton needs done out in the world. 421 is extremely capable, and although his power level isn't as high as some of the others on this list, he does have a power of 70,000, and he has the special ability to absorb energy around him and use that to add to his own power during a fight. Sir Clayton designed 421 after the Grisa era on Earth. Power number 9 is Stagger. Stagger is a Mason, and his name stands for So Tough and Great Everyone Runs. A soft brown skinned Mason who is unnaturally strong. His strength derives from those around him. His special ability allows him to grow stronger based on the universal sheet theory, which I'll probably have to explain in a different video. It's complicated and weird, and sometimes there are tears. And his power level is 72,000, most of that being physical strength. Next up, at number 8, is Drac. Drac is a powder white skinned Mason, and they are rumored to be the strongest Masons ever. Drac, although not really understanding why, has gathered other Masons in order to eliminate all Masons in the universe so that he can be the only one left. He didn't tell his group about his intentions to eliminate them once he was done. But at the time, it seemed like he was very capable of accomplishing this task. His name stands for Dreadful Raging Ancestral Killer, and he had killed a lot of Masons before he got to this point, and before his power rose to an impressive 119,000. It hurts my head how I have to come up with this as I'm going along. I'm not coming up with it as I go along. It's coming to me as I go along. At number 7 is the good guy, Golu, which is short for Gofalikanu. Anyway, Golu has a power level of 120,000. This might explain why he is in such a position to instruct others, as well as keep the peace in the areas around him. At this point, Golu is one of the most influential fighters in the entire universe. Most people know him and know his name. The Geek have also destined him for greatness and given him a cape, which on the outside can resist any force given to it, and on the inside is very foldable and malleable, and he's able to like grab it and move it around and stuff, so like even wind can blow it around. So anyway, Golu has a special ability to manipulate his spirit energy at a greater control than most others. This was taught to him in one of the dojos while he was undergoing his main training. I feel like I'm running out of breath. Number 6 is Stinky. Stinky is a Pwal, although most people confuse him as a Mason, which is understandable. He does look rather Mason-like and is very large. Stinky's power level is 123,000. Most of this is, however, physical strength. Unlike Masons, if he was one, he would be having an easier time accumulating energy just by consuming matter. But Stinky is a bug-type creature, and most of his special abilities come from a pest combat style of fighting. Number 5, and only temporarily, I'll have to explain that later, is Mo. Mo is one of the fighters from the distant past that Lumen brought to the future. Although this time travel has made Mo lose his memory, he did not lose his power, and has continued to gain power since then, and is currently accumulated a power level of 200,000. Mo works for Sir George and is indeed his right-hand man. Man, I messed that up. I'll keep it in, I don't care. And although Mo is not actually seen very much in the story, he is around. I just haven't included him because he doesn't do anything but stand there. But he will soon, and you'll need to know why he's just been kind of standing around. He does have a lot of power though, and he does protect Sir George as his right-hand man. Which brings us to number 4. Number 4, Sir Calvin Ezekiel George. Sir George, as he's known in most places, is a leader. He owns systems. Systems are occupations of space, including planets and space stations and things like that. He owns these things and regulates them and runs them. Sometimes he delegates other people, such as mayors or kings or different things like that, in order to be the heads that are represented at those places during the time that he's not there. I should write a script or something, I don't know. I'm probably going to include most of this messing up, but I just, it's fun for me just thinking about all this stuff. Sir George is a Tatayan and has learned transformations from other beings around him, including one of the wolf-like creatures' ability to increase their mass. Sir George has a golden tail, although he does not reveal it unless it is absolutely necessary to show people that he is capable of transforming. Sir George does not have any other specific special abilities, but because of his Tatayan genealogy, because of his Tatayan DNA, that's the word, he is able to learn anybody else's special ability if he can just sit down, relax, and remember that he can actually do that. Yep. I said most Tatayans will not be included on this last list because they are included on this list because Tatayans are really strong, and in order to make a top 10 list I have to include representations of what I'm talking about and why they're so strong while I drink my little drink that I got here. Because number 3, sorry about the pause there, is Sanford Lumen. That's right, I forgot to say Sir George's power level, which is 224,000. Do a jump back and jump forward, I don't care. Number 3 is Sanford Lumen. Again, we're back at this because I'm forgetting power levels. Sanford, as the oldest living being in the universe, has had plenty of time to train and gain power, and he has. A lot of his power at the time was gained from the ability to travel through the stars, which you need a lot of energy for. Sanford was also there to keep the peace, which you needed a lot of power for, and he has spent millions of years accumulating power, and his power level was 999 trillion. That made him a very hypoxia. I don't know, make it up. Imagine I said something cool. Now on to number 2. Who could possibly be stronger than Sanford in the Tatayan or the Alfred God seasons that wasn't mentioned in the other top 10 powers video, because Kristalla and the Alfred gods are pretty much on that? Well, it's Lumen. I don't mean to be angry about it. It's Lumen, and I did mention that Mo was the 5th place temporarily, and it's because Lumen drops down to 5th place and everybody 5th and up goes up 1. Lumen's power level reached 1 1.998 quadrillion. But this was temporary. It was only when he achieved rage form against Shang Tsung. The reason that he had this amount of power, and why I include him at number 2 on the list, is because if he was not hit in combat, he would have been able to maintain rage form forever. And so this power, although temporary in the story, is a power boost. And it was pretty good. Lumen has the special ability, as I've mentioned in the story, to have any wish he wishes granted to him by the council. Obviously, there are limits involved in that, things that the council has to be able to actually give him this. So they have to have the power to do it. And at some point, they put a time frame limit on him, so he can only make one wish every 34 hours, which is 1 day on Mesa. He does find his own ways around this. And also, this was kind of him in his brother's body, but then he loses that power and then he dies a couple times. He is capable of achieving this power again, but he does drop down afterwards for the rest of the saga, somewhere between 123,000 and 200,000. Lumen has a lot of different special abilities, besides the wishes, because he is a Tatayan and because he is the guardian of the council. So he's got a lot going on for him. And number 1 for the Tatayan and the Alfred God season, for other characters for this particular list of main people introduced in the story, you should have guessed it by now, it's Shang Tsung. He is also at 1.998 quadrillion on his power level, and the reason for that is because he stole most of Sanford's 999 trillion power. So he added Sanford's power to his own. And it's one of those things where if you reach a power level like this, kind of like how Crystalla did, you kind of can't stay on Tatayan because you're too strong and you need to leave. And he was on his way out, but then the dragon got him and killed him. So he is in the dead world, but he figured out in the dead world, in order to escape, he can keep his power and stay in the dead world, but he split himself into 3 parts. One whole part, which was let go because they were not dead. It was a sort of a technicality, as he created an entire new being with his own name, and Hexel had to let him go. It was a pure evil side of him, and he's in a different storyline. But anyway, and the other part that he split off of him while he remains in the dead world is the one that we see in the season most of the time, and he doesn't have nearly all of his power. He is also not made of actual living material and is made more of a mushy, gooey substance that he forms into his body. And he controls it remotely from the dead world and is able to transfer some of his power to it and able to do all these things. That's most of what Shang's special ability is to split himself and control himself from different sides and different things and stuff like that. So Shang Tsung, really, really strong, really formidable if he wants to be, but right now he's kind of trapped. He will later find a way out of the dead world properly and rejoin himself, but that's only part of his plan. I can't describe the rest of it right now. That's just kind of a power level thing. And that's it. Thanks for joining me. Read the description if you want anything else. And this was pretty hard on me. I don't know why I decided to record it right now. I wasn't ready. Goodbye.